The Sweeney, a criminal on the run.
You're nicked. What for?
Say nothing, you're not obliged to speak.
You robbed a jeweler's.
Say nothing, Mr. Carew,
Where?
please. Mr. Carew, don't
Rather
say
high.
anything, keep stum,
Rather
right?
high.
Say nothing.
Wasn't for me.
Listen, this just isn't a little power play between you and me, you know, Thompson. There's something big coming up, and I want Carew on the outside passing me information.
The post office job, you mean?
Back Monday at 9 on Central. The Sweeney.
Our late movie tonight stars Lee Van Cleef as a US Marshal trying to protect a baddie. Nowhere to Hide is at 1:25 a.m.
If it weren't for our Carol, Mum and Dad would have been none the wiser. But seriously, we have a lot to thank our parents for. And I don't think I've ever said it properly. They've always been there when I needed them, even after I left home. Without them, I'd never have got the business started. When the bank didn't want to know, it was Dad who came up with the cash. He believed in me. He believed in me when no one else would. How he found the money, I'll never know. So, here's to Peggy and Jack.
Because there are times when you might need money unexpectedly, Commercial Union has a long-term savings plan that lets you take cash out early and still leaves you a lump sum to look forward to.
Thanks, Dad.
Commercial Union. We won't make a drama out of a crisis.
Happiness is a cigar called Hamlet. The mild cigar.
What you got? Ketchup. What chip? Ketchup. Real potato. And ketchup. So what? Ketchup's on the inside. Inside. Fluffy, crispy. Potato.
Ketchup's new from Birdseye.
Fresh. Thick. Directable up under the rim. It clings, killing germs, cleaning stains. Adds the long-lasting fresh fragrance of outdoors. Fresh freshness that says clean.
If inhaled, the smoke from a house fire could kill a small child in under a minute. Wake up. Get a smoke alarm.
At lower temperatures, Indesit washing machines, together with Ariel, help keep your clothes clean. Ariel and Indesit. Rely on it.
Sunday at 9:05 on Central. Thieves, killers and kidnappers are the spice of life for Hercule Poirot.
There is a man. A horrible man.
It's him. It's him. I'm sure it's him.
I've heard such wonderful things about you. Perhaps you can do the impossible.
The impossible, it pleases me always.
Agatha Christie's Poirot, Sunday at 9:05.
You're watching Central and the latest news now from ITN.
The news from ITN.
3 robbers killed by soldiers in Belfast were carrying imitation guns. As ambulance workers demonstrate, a striking crew arrives too late for a dying man. Another mother says she was approached by the baby snatcher. And the own goal that helped Villa climb to the top. Good evening. The Home Secretary David Waddington tonight defended the security forces in Northern Ireland after undercover soldiers shot dead 3 men who were raiding a Belfast bookmaker's. Mr. Waddington said people should not be so quick to criticise those responsible for security in the province. Tonight, the Royal Ulster Constabulary said the raiders were carrying imitation weapons. Sinn Féin called it cold-blooded murder, Labour's demanding an inquiry.
The 3 men were shot dead by undercover soldiers outside this bookmaker's shop off the Falls Road in Republican West Belfast. Police say the soldiers on duty in civilian clothes were driving past in an unmarked car as the robbery was underway. They confronted 2 hooded men. The police say the soldiers thought they were carrying a rifle and a handgun, but tonight the RUC revealed that they were imitation weapons. As soon as the 2 hooded men ran out of the bookmakers, there were short bursts of gunfire. The other gang member was shot in the getaway car. Eyewitnesses say the shooting was over in seconds.
One of them kept shooting into the ground, and the other one ran and jumped into the car while the other one was still shooting. And then he ran to the car and jumped in, and they sped off up Whitedock Road in a green Vauxhall Astra.
And one of them had fell down. I know a fella tried to make his way back in again when he got injured and fell down. And this boy who just went riddled it to him.
On the ground?
On the ground. No need for it, whoever they were.
There are witnesses around here who saw the young fella lying on the ground and bullets being pumped into him. So, I mean, it would appear that they could have been taken prisoner.
A pensioner passing by was hit by a stray shot. His injury was said to be not serious. Security sources say the 3 dead men weren't terrorists, but common criminals. As calls for an inquiry mounted, Army and police chiefs held a joint meeting tonight, but they decided not to make a public statement at this stage. Andrew Simmons, ITN, Belfast.
These deaths have renewed accusations made after the Gibraltar shooting of suspected bombers that the security forces have a shoot-to-kill policy. There are fundamental differences between the cases, but again, some critics claim that those who died could have been arrested. The opposition is demanding answers to 2 questions.
Why and how? It all happened. I mean, we've got to have a look at what the Secretary of State is going to say. We've got to have a look at as more of the information comes in, but precisely how and why soldiers happened to be there and what were the orders which they were given.
Jerry Adams, in whose constituency the shooting occurred, claimed they were cold-blooded murders. Government restrictions prevent his words being broadcast. And Ireland's Foreign Minister Jerry Collins asked for a report on the shooting within 24 hours. Tonight, the Home Secretary turned on the critics.
I'd only say that those who are responsible for security in Northern Ireland have the most difficult task to carry out, and people shouldn't be so quick to criticise them.
Northern Ireland ministers say it would be wrong to anticipate the findings of an inquiry, but Dr. Brian Mahwini said the replica guns were highly realistic. Does anyone really believe that the would-be robbers told either their intended victims or the security forces, he said, that the guns they were carrying were in fact only imitations? Even so, today's events will lead to new demands for tighter rules on the use of weapons in Northern Ireland.
4 suspected IRA men have been arrested in Florida on charges of plotting to buy a Stinger anti-aircraft missile along with other weapons and explosives. The FBI said they tried to buy the weapons from an agent posing as an arms dealer. The men said they were victims of entrapment.
Certain people here offered to sell me a piece of equipment for the Irish Republican struggle.
Do you know anyone with the IRA?
IRA?
Ambulance chiefs and union leaders have urged West Sussex crews to call off their unofficial strike after the death of a man in Crawley today. The patient died before a fully equipped ambulance could reach him. Meanwhile, thousands of people rallied in London today to support the ambulance crews.
Despite the death of 37-year-old William Copeland, ambulance crews at Crawley said tonight they would continue to defy their union and stay out on strike.
We're obviously saddened. It's a very tragic episode in this dispute, but it has happened everywhere in the country. We obviously haven't got specific incidents when we can say this has happened, but it has happened many times throughout this country. It will continue to happen until Mr. Clark sorts out the government and gets around that negotiating table with our union.
Ambulance controllers received the call at 10:03. A Red Cross ambulance arrived at 10:19 without resuscitation equipment. It was 10:32 before a fully equipped ambulance arrived from Crawley.
All I would say is that any chances are obviously diminished by time. The man may have been already dead for all we know. but I do know that he did not receive the full care and attention that he might have received had it not been for this dispute.
At her home tonight, Mr. Coupland's widow told ITN she did not blame the ambulance workers for her husband's death. Earlier in Trafalgar Square, 30,000 people staged the biggest demonstration yet in support of ambulance crews, most of whom are still following union guidelines and providing an emergency service. There were many well-known faces from stage and television, and there were dozens of goodwill messages.